they were sacrificing animals, and that was cruel,
Well, that's something you heard or something you saw?
I seen it,
You saw it?
I called in to it about it, and nothing was ever done.
When everybody keeps pointing fingers, nobody's come up with a solution.
Okay.
The issue is we need a solution. We do need funding. Even in my little small center, I get donations. Donations are down since the pandemic, totally down. And we are feeding a lot more people than we ever did. Even now, in my food pantry, if you go in there, my shelves are empty.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Springfield, Ohio. And folks, as you can see, I'm standing outside Family Needs, Inc. It is a community service center operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And the pastor here has agreed to an interview. We want to find out what the impact of having so many migrants from Haiti has been on this organization. It deals with operating a food bank, a clothing bank. It helps people out with rent money. Now, of course, the reason why we drove almost 10 hours to Springfield, Ohio, folks, is that it's very much in the news. There are an estimated 20,000 Haitian migrants in this city of 50,000, and there are tensions. People talk about pets and wildlife being kidnapped either for food or ritualistic sacrificing by the voodoo tradition. There is many reports of bad driving, some resulting in fatalities. Litter is an issue. There are claims that people have been subjected to kidnap attempts. Right now, they're all allegations, which of course is a reason why we are here in Springfield, Ohio. We want to find out what is the truth. So let's go and speak with the pastor and see what he has to say about the migrant influx. And I'm speaking with Pastor Andrew Mobley. And Pastor, thank you so much for making time for us. The reason why we are in Springfield is very much in the news that this little city of 50,000 people has something like 20,000 Haitian migrants. There are some tensions in the city, we understand.
Donations are down. Donations was down during the pandemic. It has put an additional strain, but this started years ago. There's not as much funding on an area that's not focused on and nobody paid attention to. So yes, it has put an additional strain.
Well, folks, I've come across an individual who lives here in Springfield, Jerry Piles. And Jerry, the migrant issue is getting international attention, something like 20,000 Haitian migrants coming into this little city of 50,000. What has been the result?
Well, I look at it like this, man. They're taking over everything here. I mean, there's no jobs for us. I mean, you like come down here to this like sandwich line right here, and they let them go first, and you can't even speak English, so why even be here?
It seems to be such a high number for such a small city. Springfield, just 50,000 people, as I said earlier. What is behind this, sir?
Ooh, that's a good question. What is behind this? This is what I can only go by my experience and what I've actually seen happen. Because my church, as a church, actually housed several Haitians that needed housing here. And when they first came here, many of the landlords would not put them in housing because they didn't have IDs, they were not citizens, and they couldn't sign contracts. So my church signed contracts, and we housed Haitians in housing where they would give money to my church to pay their rent, and we were the ones responsible for the rent payment. It all happened because one particular Haitian lady, she was in her 60s, in an apartment, somebody stabbed her.
I'm trying to get a job myself, and it's just hard to find one. You can't even get a house around here because they're taking over everything. And I'm not no racist type person, but there's something got to be done here, you know.
But tell me, Pastor, as you know, just a couple of days ago, former President Donald Trump brought it up in the debate that here in Springfield, I think he referenced it twice, that these migrants are going after waterfowl, they're going after people's pets. There is allegedly tensions about littering, about bad driving, local citizens being harassed.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
What have you seen and heard on the streets here?
Okay, you will find in a local newspaper, one of the families, Mr. Clark, talked about his son who died in a tragic accident, okay? We had a Haitian person who went afoul of the line and caused a major bus accident. That started the whole process. And you do have a definite miscommunication from people. When I say miscommunication, when we look at our system of getting a driver's license, our temporary permits look just like a driver's license. So if you don't understand English language and you get a permit, and the permit says you're supposed to have other people in the car to drive, they think it's a driver's license.
Oh, so are they legally entitled to drive?
They're not legally entitled to drive because they issue a permit that looks like a driver's license. And if you don't read English well, you think you got a driver's license and you got a permit, not a license. I've had several of the Haitian population where I found out that they don't even understand our system.
They should have come to the locals, citizens here in the United States, you know. Let's give us the chance first, you know. They come over here to our country, they give them all this money, you know, and that's not fair to us, to people that's actual citizens to this country, you know. We can't get no $75,000, you know, to go do whatever, you know. How is it fair to us when we're actual citizens here?
Camera, I guess the big question is, Pastor, from what you have seen in the city of Springfield, was this a mistake, or at least was this overly ambitious, bringing in so many thousands of Haitian migrants to a little city like this?
It wasn't a mistake.
It was not.
It was not a mistake because our factories needed workers and to produce the goods.
I ain't actually, I've heard about the animals, and I was actually remodeling on a house over on Columbus Avenue about last year sometime, and the guy and the woman that lived over there, you know, they were sacrificing animals, you know, and that was cruel, you know.
Well, that's something you heard or something you saw?
I seen it, you know.
You saw it?
I called in to it about it, and nothing was ever done, you know.
Oh, so you called Bylot, the city, about this, or?
I called the dog pound, you know, and nothing was ever done to them, you know.
So right now they're under called TPS, Temporary Protective Status. Temporary Protective Status, by definition, they cannot vote, by definition. They can't walk in and produce one of those temporary IDs and say, I can vote.
And Jerry, when you reported this to the authorities, they weren't interested in doing anything?
No, they come out and they went inside the house because the people had moved already, and the authorities got scared. I mean, the police force, you know, they got guns. Why are they going to run out of a house, you know? Don't make no sense.
Wow, that is a disturbing anecdote. You don't have any photos or videos, I take it?
No,
okay, then.
I wouldn't go that far with something like that.
When everybody keeps pointing fingers, nobody's come up with a solution.
Okay.
The issue is we need a solution. We do need funding. Even in my little small center, I get donations. Donations are down since the pandemic, totally down. And we are feeding a lot more people than we ever did. Even now, in my food pantry, if you go in there, my shelves are empty.
Wow.
They're empty. But even if I got food in, what do I do about the electricity? How do I repair my kitchen? How do I fix my driveways? There is no funding coming from any government source that helps you do that.
Well, folks, I wasn't kidding about this receiving such attention. Donald Trump, in the debate the other night, he referenced what's going on in Springfield. We think this is an important story. If you agree, go to thetruthaboutspringfield.com. That's thetruthaboutspringfield.com. And if you're able to, chip in $1 or $3 so that we can cover our expenses while we're doing our reporting here.